Hi, my name is Frank Howell, and I'm the head women's basketball coach at Graceland University, entering my 4th season. Well, last season we got off to a really strong start. We started out 6-0 on the season, which I think might have been the best start in women's basketball history at Graceland, and then ended up getting about 11-3, and then kind of hit a little bit of a roadblock at that point in time. The back end of the season wasn't as successful as the front end of the season was, and we graduated about 81% of our scoring from a year ago. So heading into this next season, what we hope to do is kind of reverse that trend a little bit. We won't be quite as experienced as we were coming into last year, where we had 7 seniors last year. But after 81% of our scoring has graduated from a year ago, it's time for other kids to step up. And I think it's also an opportunity for us to show more improvement from the beginning of the season to the end of the season, and show constant improvement from game to game, day to day, which I hope puts us in a position where not only are we playing our best basketball at the end of the year, but we're also setting the table for the following season as well. Coming back from last season, we have 2 seniors and on the squad this year. Emma Burns, who is a junior college transfer from Michigan. She's entering her senior year after being with the program for 1 year. Clarissa James Lewis has been with us for 3 years and is now a senior. And we have 5 juniors, the Bowden twins, Haley and Kaylee. And Kaylee played significant minutes a year ago. 6'1", a 6-foot kid that can get into the post, but also can swing out and knock down some three-point shots as well. We have Tiara Edwards, who is from Quincy, Illinois. Shaylin Stigger from Liberty High School, as well as Kason Shirley, who wasn't with us last season in the program, but she did come into the program the first year that I was here, so she's already been accustomed to the system a little bit. And then we have 2 kids that are sophomores in terms of eligibility. Khalees Bear played quite a bit for us, and I think that Khalees is really ready to step up, and very skilled player on the perimeter, and very good with the ball in her hands, and a great passer, and great feel for the game. So definitely looking for big things from Khalees after having her first season playing collegiately last year. Brooke Vermeer, we moved her up about halfway through the season from the junior varsity because she was playing so well at that level. And she made an immediate impact, and so definitely think that Brooke is in a position to do big things for us. And I remember when we played down at Evangel last year, she had a 21-point game off of the bench, so she certainly has shown some firepower and some ability. And then Shauna Wrighton played for us last year as well. Not that much. She's suited for us, and she's into her sophomore year, but definitely showed a lot of ability. So those are the kids that we have that are coming back, that were a part of our program from a year ago, or in Kason's case anyway, she was with us before she came back to it. So a handful of kids to pick from there. Well, we have a varsity program and a junior varsity program at Graceland, and so sometimes it takes a little while to sort out who should be with your JV right out of the chute and who should be with your varsity. We have all of our newcomers right now should be freshmen in terms of eligibility. So we didn't bring in as many 4-year transfers or as many junior college transfers, but we do have Heaven Mubarak, who originally attended Judson High School in Converse, Texas. Heaven is a great athlete and one of our better runners, just in terms of sprints and our mile run. Great leaper and great motor, great level of activity, tremendous athleticism. And Heaven should have 4 years of eligibility, we do believe, by the time that's all sorted out. And then we also have Maddie Sager that's going to suit some varsity for us too. We're trying to determine how much she'll play varsity versus JV at this point in time. But she's from Stanberry High School in Stanberry, Missouri, and her high school team got state runner-up in Class 1 in Missouri. And she's done a great job, and a very strong rebounder, and also is starting to show her range as a shooter too. Even though in high school she primarily played with her back to the basket, she should have the ability to put the ball on the floor now and also hit threes, but also be tough and rebound the ball and score inside. And then also Victoria Nauman, who they didn't win state last year, but she did play on the state championship teams at Mountain City, Missouri. And Victoria is also a very tough-minded kid, one of our better kids in terms of what she's shown in preseason conditioning with her athleticism and toughness and physical strength. And so we think that she can play a little point guard, maybe a little bit off the ball too. We'll see. And then, we have about 9 other freshmen that we'll see how they progress over the course of the season to see if they remain as JV kids or if they're able to crack into the varsity before things are all said and done. So definitely I'd say at this point in time, there's a lot of room for mobility in both directions in terms of being able to move up or maybe to move down. So we do think it'll be very competitive, but we do think we have a lot of kids to pick from. But we think that we have a lot of great kids. They've been very coachable. They've been very hardworking. The camaraderie's been very good. They definitely pay attention to detail, and they're not afraid to put in extra work. So again, kind of the theme I would say overall is where can we be at the end of the year compared to where we started, and to try to break the season into thirds and to see where you're going to get by the time that you're from the preseason to the first game, and then from the first game to Christmas break, and then Christmas break towards the end of the regular season as you're heading into the postseason. So we do think that we have the kids with high levels of character, and we think sometimes that'll take you a little bit further. Once if you're on top but you don't have character, you're not going to stay on top. But we do think that they'll be great teammates to each other, and they'll make each other better and have a multiplier effect on the whole program. I think this season, the big thing right now is we did set a goal at the beginning of last season. We did set a goal to start out 6-0, and we achieved that goal. And I'm not setting that as a goal necessarily. If it happens, that's great. But I do think that our non-conference is pretty tough this year, and we're not quite as experienced on the front end as what we were a season ago. So I do think that in this day and age, a lot of times there's a tendency to kind of rely upon a short-term approach. But with where we're at with losing so many kids off of last year, I think it's going to be really important to say, okay, we've got our short-range goals, we've got our long-term goals, and let's try to learn after every game that we participate in, and let's really use that non-conference a little bit more for a stepping stone to prepare us for what is up ahead with the conference season. But we're in the heart of America Conference, and there are always going to be a lot of great teams, and we know that across the board, we've seen it every year. Any given night, anybody can beat anybody else. The team that maybe is in first place potentially could lose to the team that's at the bottom of the standings. It doesn't happen most nights, obviously, but once in a while it does. So I think that it's really important to try to set goals before each game and try to take an approach to say, can we win the turnover battle? Can we have half the number of turnovers that our opponents have? Can we out-rebound the opposition by +10? Can we make more free throws than the other team attempts? And to try to find ways to do that, and kind of get a little bit obsessed with those 3 goals, I think. If we can secure the ball, both in terms of not turning the ball over and rebounding the ball, I think that we'll be in most games. And so now we've got to try to build that mentality in practice, so that's what we're going to emphasize, and that's what we're going to do. And then we go out there and we play somebody, and then we try to take a look after the game and figure out what went well and what didn't go well, and let's keep what's good and let's fix what's not good and try to get better for the next one. So really a lot more of a longitudinal approach to the whole season, to try to find a way to get a little bit better every day, just bit by bit, and try not to get too wrapped up into making it an emotional roller coaster where you win a big game and you think that you're great, but then sometimes you set yourself up for the next performance maybe not being quite as good, or maybe not having a great performance, or not allowing that to affect how you're going to come out the next time. So really trying to go bit by bit and trying to have a gradual approach. And like I say, my number one goal for our program this year is if anybody would look at us at the beginning of the year compared to the end of the season, and if they could look at every other team that's in the conference, that they would feel like we've probably taken more strides forward compared to anybody else, from where everybody else is at the beginning of the season to where they are at the end.